So some members of the ANC in the Dr. W.B. Khobisana region have filed an urgent application for a court interdict against some branch delegates taking part in the provincial conference in East London. The East London High Court was scheduled to start hearing the matter at 5 p.m. this afternoon. The applicant, Ondela Sokomani, says about 30 branches are not eligible to vote in the conference since there is a pending court judgment on allegations of membership manipulation, which took place at branch general meetings in the region. SABC News reporter Abongile Janchis is outside the High Court in East London for us. Abongile, good evening to you and welcome. So we spent, close on 2 hours at the Eastern Cape High Court listening to arguments from both the applicants and the respondents. Do you have any sense of what the likelihood is of an outcome, within the next hour?
Well, Iman, it's really hard to tell at this stage as both representatives have made their cases. And this has a ripple effect on the conference that is set to take place. I understand now that at the ICC they've gone for dinner and waiting, closely monitoring the situation here in this High Court. It might be a detriment to some of the factions that are standing for positions in that conference. Well, it's expected that Judge Justin Lang can come in about an hour. He's still applying his mind, and as you can see here in court, the members are still waiting in anguish. Some of them are outside. They include members who are supposed to be participating in that conference, but they made their way here to listen to this judgment that Dr. W.B. Khobisana, I would recall, didn't even go to their regional conference as this conference sits today. Amongst the people who were here, they include Ronald Lamola, the Minister of Correctional Services, and also an NEC member who's an observer at this conference. But to tell us more about the issues affecting the Dr. W.B. Khobisana, I'm now joined by an REC member, Umama Princess Fak, who's also the Deputy Mayor of the Buffalo City Metro. A very good evening to you, ma'am, and thanks for joining us. Ma'am, you're supposed to be at a conference to elect new leaders of the province, but now you are here due to the internal issues of the region. Can you, from your side, why must we be here due to branches not sitting, those are some of the things that the applicants made. Can you paint us a picture of what's happening exactly from your side as a region?
Thank you very much. I think we're as confused as you are, because what we understand is that all internal processes have been concluded by the African National Congress. The Office of the SGO, the NDRC have concluded all the matters. Hence, you could see that when Advocate Bodla was presenting today in court, I think it's just one individual who's not happy. But it seems that he claims that he's representing many branches, which we don't understand, because those branches went through all internal processes as the court requested us to do. There are affidavits from the NDRC verdicts of all those branches. Hence, you could see that today, as the African National Congress, we are confident, waiting for the judgment, but we just feel that comrades must really understand and be patient for all internal processes. There is no delegate that can participate in any conference of the African National Congress if issues that are internal are not concluded. So we are happy with the presentation today. We are anxiously waiting for the court judgment, but we must say that we are disappointed because we were supposed to participate in conference today. You could see that there were NEC members, the provincial secretary and the regional secretary here today, whereby we could have really interacted in the policy directive documents in the conference, which we were unable. The national chair is here. He made an NEC input. We're unfortunately not there. The provincial chairperson gave the political report today. We could not even participate on those discussions for our own province. So we must say that we are not happy at all, but we have to obey and be here. But we are anxiously waiting for the judgment. Thank you.
This speaks to divisions within that region. You didn't even sit a conference, your own conference, before coming to this one. How deep are divisions there and infighting within that region of yours?
I would not say there are divisions in Khobosana. Remember, when you go to conference, you establish a roadmap and say, on this date, I will go to conference. Hence, we did not dispute the judgment that came out because internal processes were not concluded. Once internal processes are not concluded, you can't then proceed with the conference. Majority of the branches here in Khobosana are participating in that conference. There are no division, but there are certain individuals who don't want to follow organizational processes.
And it comes to these individuals, that region, it's the second time that the region is being taken to court. It speaks to people funding particular individuals to take your region to court. And that speaks to people who have interest in that region of yours. So when are you getting your house in order as a region? And you are the host region for this provincial conference. Surely coming to court is also an embarrassment.
Yes, it's an embarrassment for the movement, but the person that will be embarrassed is the one who brought the ANC to court, not us, because we are yet to defend the African National Congress. Remember, when the majority of branches are supporting supporting the African National Congress, and then there are individuals who are against that because they want to be the African National Congress, those individuals, there's nothing really we can do, but it's to make sure that as the African National Congress, under the stewardship of the province, we follow all organizational processes, which up to today we are confident because as the current region, we have followed each and every step. So we're even confident in the judgment today that the court will find out that there's no urgency in the matter. And those branches, some of them have rerun, they've got verdicts, they have a right, they've got a constitutional right to be there and participate in the conference. But you see, when sometimes people, their view is not truly expressed, they are trying all tricks to delay the pain.
When can we see your region united, lastly? United in the sense that no one is taking someone else from within the region to issues like coming to court.
The African National Congress is united in this region, but as I'm saying, there are certain individuals who are hell-bent, not wanting to see the ANC united, who want to be in control of the ANC. And some of us who would never allow that because we want an ANC that is renewed, that is led by the Constitution of the African National Congress, not certain individuals.
I thank you so much for your time, and we shall await the verdict.
Thank you.
Well, Iman, that was Princess Fakwe, an REC member at the Dr. W.B. Khobosana, expressing her dissatisfaction for them to be coming here late in the evening whilst they were supposed to be participating in that provincial conference. We shall bring you more as the judge makes his way in an hour's time, under an hour's time, Iman.
All right, Abongile, thank you very much. We'll look to you as the judge, Justice Lang, heads back to court and see what the outcome of that decision is. That was Abongile Janchis from the High Court in East London. So let's wrap things up, politically speaking, with Lukhanyo Vangqa to talk about these tandem events, the ongoing elective conference and this court action. You know, I was listening to Luka Toby there earlier on with some Kele talking, using words like, you know, this legal action being stage managed, and you heard the REC member there and the deputy mayor there talking about you know, tricks and the use of that kind of language. There's certainly a lot more under the surface, even beyond this particular, you know, pursuit of an interdict. They're not going to disappear overnight, are they, Lukhanyo? So this is a problem the ANC, in pursuit of its own renewal and unity, is going to have to take very seriously.
People are still going to go to court to litigate against the ANC, and they need to get used to it and develop a thick skin around that. They all become very hyperbolic, actually, when these things happen, and they have a flair for the hyperbole, calling each other spies, calling each other counter-revolutionaries. But really, it's just, you know, disgruntled members and the results of ingrained factionalism within the organization. And if they don't deal with some of the issues that causes these factional divisions, then they're still going to be here in 10, 15, 20 years time, and they're still going to be hyperbolic and calling each other, all sorts of names and accusing each other of all sorts and manner of things. But what we have here, what we have here really is an issue of factionalism, and it's only factionalism with regards to whose turn it is to eat, because some of these divisions are not ideological at all.
Well, then let's just talk about, when you talk about the divisions, long-term allies and friends are now almost, in a sense, mortal enemies, and I'm talking about Babalo Madikizela and Oscar Mabuyane. Just share with our viewers again this dynamic between the pair of them.
Another clear example of divisions that are not ideological at all. I mean, these two have the very same political persuasions. They support the very same person nationally with regards to the leadership contest of the ANC in December for the national president of the ANC. They both support Cyril Ramaphosa. They've been in the same slate for years. In the previous conference, the two were together on the same slate, contesting that conference in 2017. And these are very, long-time friends. And we saw in some of the readings that we've seen, documentations that we've come across, you look at the public protector's report, you see how these two had a very serious exchange of monies between themselves and how they are very close friends. But here they are today, no ideological differences. They are friends. It's really just a question of whose turn it is to eat. And that's what the contest is about that we see today. But what I want to finally say is that this speaks to the failure for succession planning within the ANC, that you would have a province like the Eastern Cape that has such great potential to be influential in national politics of the ANC, divided like it is today, when these two could have spoken to each other as friends and say, well, how do we plan for succession within the province? And how do we have you as Oscar Mabuyane, after your turn, promoted to national, and then I come in or someone else comes in? And that's the issue of succession planning. I mean, the Secretary General's office is vacant, and Oscar Mabuyane was once provincial secretary. They could have had a decision that says, well, let me come up now and we'll promote you in December to go to that particular position. But they're not. They're fighting like mortal enemies, like there's no tomorrow. And, the province is not going to be the stronger as a result of that.
Yeah, certainly a lot at stake, Lukhanyo. I know that you're going to be off for dinner now because you've been partners with me since the start of the program earlier on, and we're hoping for a decision from the Eastern Cape High Court in under an hour. So, hopefully just before 9 o'clock, which is when the credentials must be accepted at the conference. So we will see. Things have the possibility of going on into the early hours of the morning, as Samkele was telling us earlier. But thank you very much for your time and your analysis. Really appreciate you. Political analyst Lukhanyo Vangqa there, joining me, just sharing his perspective on the court developments and what's happening at the conference itself.